signed up for the PAP's 70th anniversary, you're going to hand over to Lawrence Wong. So you will have done 20 years by then. And I wondered how much you think, what's changed during that? I mean, if you look at your father came in famously as a socialist and ended up as a Thatcherite. I've been wandering around Singapore at the moment, and there are all these big programs to hand out more money to people in retirement, fight off inflation. Have you been drifting to the left?
We have been sailing carefully to a more comfortable place. No, when the economy is growing and all boats are lifted by the tide, we can afford to be and we need to be very rigorous in how we help those who are not quite catching up. You can tell them, run faster, work harder, here's a bit more incentive, get ahead. And mostly it works very well. And we did that for a very long time. But over time, as the race goes on, as the field spreads out, and some are further forward and some are not quite so far ahead, and then their kids are not so far ahead, you have to think, how are you going to hold this team together? And when sometimes somebody who's doing perfectly well, the world changes on him and suddenly the first shall be last. Well, what do? Do you say that's just the way the world is? Or is there something I can do to help him get back into the race again and be contributing again? And I think that we are in a phase where we have to do more together, where we have to help each other, and the government has to be there, and we have to try very hard to avoid the government being the sole solution to all problems.
So the government is not going to get massively bigger, but it'll get a bit bigger.
We are probably the smallest government in the developed countries because we spend about less than 20% of the GDP. That's the government budget. My government budget is about the same percentage of the GDP as some European countries spend on state pensions. I mean, your system is different, but we've kept ours very lean. And we need to keep it very lean, but the pressures of aging, of higher healthcare costs, of higher social needs are pushing us up gradually. And our challenge is, how do we fund that? And how do we allow that to happen where necessary without just blowing up out of control? And that means from time to time uttering the forbidden word, taxes. And we are in the middle of doing that now. We have a goods and services tax, like a VAT. It was 7%. We pushed it up to 8% on the 1st of January this year, and is about to go up to 9% on the 1st of January next year. And we will make it happen, but what we are doing is to provide quite generous, practically cash subsidies to the lower 2/3 of the population so that I can get the system through. I'm in a new place in terms of my revenues, but as far as impact on the households, that's deferred for quite some time.
How would you like to be remembered? What is the bit that? What is the bit out of that? Do you want to be seen the person who kept?
No, I think I just focus on doing my job. I'm not into what do they?
Eulogies.
No,
But you.
I'm not into the point where I sit down and talk about what I used to do.